Oh, are we running? Oh, we are. Okay. So apparently I'm very low on battery, but I think I can do the article before the mobile turns off. I'll just yeah, it's really low. Great. I was looking at this article and let's see if there's any interesting thing in it. Right. I just been eating my 800 grams of morning breakfast meat and it was very nice. Feeling pretty full. I was wondering in regards of the other guy that was on nystatin that he seemed to already get issues on the second day. I do wonder, I'm taking vitamin C as well. I do wonder if that could actually have, what shall we say, made a longer period for me without actually having any issues. So anyway, I should probably have, yesterday or the last night, I should probably have just gone up and taken some vitamin C. If I remember correctly, vitamin C has a way of also helping you in regards of toxins. So anyway, so that might be the case why it has taken a little longer to actually see big things in regards of the. Actually, I should also take the next capsule. But anyway, no, tablet. Sorry, tablet. Yeah, tablet. No, capsule. Tablet. Yeah, tablet. I think it was. So here we go with the article. Anyway, let's get it going. Fungus, molds, and mycotoxins. International Mycotoxin Summit 2016 in Dallas by Simon Yo, MD. So he's one of these white coat Latin spouters. Studying fungus mycology was not the most exciting subject during my medical school studies. However, problems associated with fungus, molds, and their byproducts, mycotoxins, have been exploding as a hot topic for the last 20 years. And again, I would actually think that fungus would be the most interesting part of, and in any case, I find fungus pretty interesting. I'm not so much into, but anyway, have been exploding as a hot topic for the last 20 years. I've written many articles on parasites over the last 20 years, but few articles on fungus and molds. The articles, molds, enigma of indoor pollution and yeast syndrome. That's weird. Something going on in my leg, at the moment in regards to the muscles jumping away. I wonder if that could be in regards to the nystatin. Anyway, I've written many articles on parasites over the last 20 years, but few. It could also be because I was out swimming, of course, but, it's just kind of weird. Anyway, I've written many articles on parasites over the last 20 years, but few articles on fungus and molds. The articles, molds, enigma of indoor pollution and yeast syndrome are on my website. Also check John Parks Trowbridge, MD's book, The Yeast Syndrome, for many unexplained medical symptoms. His book was published 30 years ago and is still up to date. Yeah, 30 years. They have had a long time to recognize fungus as a problem, and yet, because there's no money in it, and because of this satanic, diabolical world, they pretty much have kept away from going deeper into that. And thereby, the people have been suffering because they're not getting the information they need and the help they need when they get into issues. And they are misdiagnosed and mistreated and led to the grave. Anyway, fungus is a symbiont living in synergy with plants, animals, or other fungus. However, it can also act as a parasite. Amen. A fungus is any member of the fungal eukaryote. Oh yeah, I still have issues actually how to actually say that. Let's try to help. Let's have some help here. Uh-oh, that's not the one I wanted. Oh, maybe it can actually say it as well, but let's just try. Uh-oh. Oh. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, a muscle is in my left leg is jumping around at the moment. Not sure why. Eukaryotic, having cells with good or membrane-bound nuclei, but that would be like I remember. I think it was like Candida albicans. Let's see if we can actually get it like here. This program is not so smart, so it actually just, the other program just fixes the copy paste in. Here we go. But it seems like we have no. Yeah, we'll go.
Eukaryotic.
Eukaryotic. Eukaryotic.
Eukaryotic.
Eukaryotic. Again, from Latin, eukaryotes. Eukaryotes, or apparently we have some Latin as well. From Greek, otos, and I guess the first one is then Latin or whatever. You get so tired of this.
Eukaryotic.
Eukaryotic, okay. So, that was the wrong thing. Let's go again. Fungus is a symbiont living in synergy with plants, animals, or other fungus. However, it can also act as a parasite. A fungus is any member of the fungal eukaryotic organisms which contain nucleus. That include unicellular, single cell, but of course these people can't speak English, so anyway, I guess we have the same thing in regards to universe, one verse, Anyway, maybe it's okay. I don't know. It just seems like, why not just write single cell? Anyway, that includes unicellular microorganisms such as yeast and molds, but molds are not unicellular, are they? Molds are, haven't they gone into multiple? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they're still I thought they actually went to, the yeast form is a single cellular organism, right? So when it goes into the fungus form, which I guess mold is, right? It's just a fungus with, anyway, a lot of these, what was it called? Myceme? I can't remember the words. Anyway, so I don't, of course, some fungus can change into a yeast when they're in the body. Candida seems to do it. Otherwise, it seems to go from a yeast into a fungus when the pH is, anyway, is higher, a low pH, and the Candida will keep in its yeast form, as I understand it. But if the pH begins to, if the environment becomes bad, it apparently tends to grow into a fungus, and then you have a problem, and it will make havoc in your body and pretty much give you a lot of toxins and problems, and anyway, that includes unicellular organisms such as yeast and molds, as well as multicellular fungi known as mushrooms. I thought the fungus form of Candida was a multicellular fungi, and not a singular. But anyway, I guess I have, that's a different conflicting informations from, here and there. So at some point I'll figure things out, I guess. Fungus and early parasites, protozoa, have been evolving over 1 billion year. Bullshit. Yeah, there we go with the bullshit, having, science mixed with paganism, because evolution is paganism. So fungus and early parasites, protozoa, have been evolving over 1 billion years. That's a complete, complete lie. It's complete bullshit, The world is only around 6,000 years. And I know people will think, oh, that's weird, But that's the case, so, this is bullshit. Billions of years. And the world is not even 10,000 years, So give me a billion? Oh, come on, Let's see, how long was it that they said the Earth? I can't remember the numbers, but it's complete bullshit. Utterly bullshit, 13.8 billion years. Nothing exploded, and here we are, and all that. And I can't remember the rest of the numbers, but of course I could find them again. Anyway, fungus is among us as much as parasites are among us. Fungus and parasites have been evolving with us, but utter bullshit, in the last 6,000 years, if you want to call it evolving, but whatever. It's just usually they talk about mutations when they're talking about, like, for example, the fungus, being what do you call resistance to something. Usually talking about a mutation That's not evolving. That's a mutation. That's, anyway, whatever. Fungi are genetically more closely related to animals than plants. Well, the fungi are considered a separate kingdom, distinct. Oh, well, let's try that. The fungi are genetically more closely related to animals than plants. Yeah, well, okay. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. The fungi are considered a separate kingdom, distant from both plants and animals. The kingdom of fungi has been estimated at 1.5 million to 5 million species. And Doc Kaufman, which is from the course, but he's a Roman papist, so just be aware of that. There's a lot of pagan doctrines being mixed into the program, but he does know a huge amount on fungus. But anyway, he says, I think it was 1.5 to 2 million. Here we have 1.5 to 5 million species apparently. I've seen other numbers as well being very low, but it seems like it's up there in the millions. So with about 5% of these formally classified, so they haven't really classified many of them. But anyway, yeast are single-cell fungal organisms. As members of the fungus kingdom, the most well-known are brewer's yeast, baker's yeast, and Candida albicans. Now, brewer's yeast, I think, is in regards of, making beer. I guess baker's yeast is probably in regards of baking. I'm not entirely sure, but that might be the case. And Candida albicans is the first and foremost fungal infection in man. So, pretty important, and I think a lot of people are getting misdiagnosed by where they have a fungus infection. And anyway, let's go on. 7% on the mobile. I'm not sure how long it will actually prevail, but anyway. Brewer's and baker's yeast microbes are probably the earliest domesticated organism by mankind for baking breads and brewing beer or wines, going all the way back to biblical times. And biblical times are not millions of years ago, okay? So, anyway, the Bible says the world is around 6,000 years, so, you believing atheists, that usually goes hand in evolution, are wrong, okay? The world is only around 6,000 years. Get it in your head. You're wrong. You're mixing science with paganism. We don't this and that and all that. It's paganism, okay? Go back further, long back before Darwin made it popular in the Western society. You can find it in India. Oh, it's incredible. It's paganism, okay? It's not science, it's paganism. And that's what they want to promote because they don't like God. Anyway, on the other hand, Candida albicans are opportunistic pathogens and can cause infection in human, especially with the introduction of antibiotics. Now, what is another word for antibiotics besides actually meaning against life? Well, another word in regards of antibiotics would be fungus poison. And what is... anyway, so that of course would make it, if you're given fungus poison to destroy bacteria that actually keeps the fungus in check, of course that will be able to make promotion of the fungi in the body. Let's see here if we can find the word. And they found out that even if, don't I have that? Apparently... I thought I had a window open where I had where I had some words in regards of what is normal and what is not normal. Let's see here. No. There we go. So even in immunocompromised people can be in regards of fungus and all that, but they apparently have found out now that also immunocompetent people can get issues with fungus. So anyway, and of course, the immunocompetent person will probably have his system suppressed by the fungi and all that. But what isn't seen as an immunocompetent person can actually have a fungus infection. So anyway, antibiotics against life or poison or fungus poison, and a high sugar carbohydrate diet. And what do we see in society? What is being promoted? Well, antibiotics and sugar, and thereby we get Candida albicans. A mold is a fungus that grows in a form of multicellular filaments. Oh, that was another word. Filaments called hyphae, or strings, or those are many other words for these things. But anyway, mycelium was anyway, whatever. Many fungus can be a single cell as yeast, or multiple cells as molds. There we go with the multiple cells. So and we are down on 5%. As molds, dimorphic. Well, my dimorphic is actually in regards of being yeast and fungus. It can be both. It can change form to one thing to another. So I'm not sure why he's talking about dimorphic. I guess as I understand it, it's not all the fungus that are actually dimorphic, but dimorphic, it can go from yeast to fungus, or fungus to yeast. Of course, yeast is fungus, but in regards to the form of what it is, I guess he uses the mold form. But there's a variation in regards of fungus and molds as well, in regards of clarification and all that, or whatever. But it's all fungus. Anyway, depending on the condition for them to grow, like all fungi, molds derive energy not through photosynthesis, but from the organic matter on which they live by, recycling often the dead or dying organism, or living as a parasite. But anyway, maybe let's just continue. These molds reproduce by producing large numbers of small spores, and spores are pretty much just the seeds of fungus. It's the babies, it's the eggs of fungus. Which apparently there's different ways of it actually making spores. There's different kinds of spores apparently in regards of making spores inside of it or outside of it, and whatever. Different ways, and asexual and sexual and whatever. Anyway, a number of small spores which may contain a single nucleus or multi-nucleus. Mold spores can be asexual, the product of mitosis, and sexual, the product of meiosis. Again, big words, I guess. Let's get it on a 4th grade level, I would guess, in regards to mitosis, and meiosis would be like, non-sexual and maybe actually they actually already have some sort of anyway, okay, or both, and they can produce mycotoxins. Now, apparently, again, the person cannot write English, So instead of actually saying fungus poison, he says mycotoxins. This is something these white coats apparently have a problem with, But anyway, mycotoxin, myco means fungus, toxin means toxin, poison. So it's a fungus poison. Yeah, very, it's incredible. What is wrong with these people? Anyway. This information may seem irrelevant for you now, but can be extremely important information later for much unexplainable illness for environmentally sensitive patients and physicians taking care of them. The 2016 International Summit on Fungus Poison Treatments conference was held in Dallas, Texas. The conference covered a broad spectrum of mycotoxin-related illnesses, fungus poison-related illnesses, Spit it out, so speak it out in English words, okay? So a 4th grade can understand you, okay? And treatment plans. I was there to refresh my knowledge of mycotoxins, of fungus poison related to human illnesses. Among many outstanding speakers at the mycotoxin treatment, there's someone we know there. Well, I don't know him, but I've seen him. I've listened to over 100 of his shows. So I think there's around 30 left. Now I'm finished with the Doug Kaufman marathon of the things that he has released on the internet. Now that is his shows from many years also. Anyway, That's like 600 or 800 shows or something like that. But anyway, among many outstanding speakers at the Mycotoxin, the Fungus Poison Treatment Conference, Doug Kaufman's lecture on the role of fungal mycotoxin in cancer was outstanding. Most direct, get to the point, and relevant lecture for why we are getting sick. He wrote many books on fungus, including The Germ That Causes Cancer. Woohoo! Yeah, go Doc. But anyway, he's a Roman papist, just be aware of that. But wonderful information that he has on fungus for sure. So some of the highlights of his lecture include the American Cancer Society defines fungal mycotoxins. That's just two times, saying fungal, fungal toxins, but anyway, it defines fungal toxins, fungal poison as genotoxic carcinogens. I guess that's in regards to making cancer. Fungal exposure has been greatly accelerated by sealing our homes, heat air condition systems that encourages mold growth, erroneous promotion of grains, and food pyramids charts over the last 70 years. And I do remember when I was in school. Now I'm 35 years old, I think. And I think that's pretty much, I think I'm, according to the Roman pagan sun calendar, the Gregorian, Julian, the Julian Gregorian Roman calendar. Anyway, that's another topic, of course, for itself. But anyway, the Popist calendar. Anyway, the Emperor's calendar. Anyway, in food pyramid charts over the last 70 years, so yeah. I remember in the schools and all that where you have a huge thing in the bottom, which actually was, in regards of bread and what was the potatoes and other things. Sadly, I can't remember